This is Pulwtop's M4 Mac Mini USB-C docking station that is custom designed for the ease of access to the notorious power button situated at the bottom of the M4 Mac Mini. Now this USB hub features a M.2 SSD external hard drive slot at the bottom of the dock with up to 10 gigabits per second speeds with a maximum of 4 terabytes capacity. It also comes with a single HDMI port that supports up to 4K 60Hz, a SD and micro SD card slot with maximum speeds of 104 megabytes per second, a 3.5mm audio and mic jack, and lastly 3 USB Type-A ports that unfortunately is only rated at USB 2.0. However, there is a reason behind this decision from Pulwtop, which we'll talk about it in just a second. Now, I want to clarify that I don't actually have the M4 Mac Mini at the moment, so this video is only going to cover a product showcase of all the features Pulwtop's M4 Mac Mini USB-C dock has to offer. I can only give you guys my first impression of this product, but not any user experience. For those of you who have been subscribed to the channel from the early days would know that I used to rock the M1 Mac Mini, and just last year I upgraded to the M1 Max Mac Studio, and it is an absolute beast of a machine even in 2025. However, I am still considering the new M4 Mac Mini in the future, so when that happens, I'll be sure to come back to this USB-C dock and drop a review video like I always do. Now, as always, disclaimers first, Pulwtop has kindly sent over this USB-C dock over for review, and all they asked for is a product showcasing video like how I always do here on the channel. They have no input in anything that I'll be sharing in this video, and everything I say is of my own opinion. With that out of the way, let's dive right in. So we start off with the unboxing of the Mac Mini dock. It comes in a classic Pulwtop packaging. We have the product image on the box with some features labeled all around the box. Taking a look inside, we have a couple of things starting from the main unit, which we'll take a look in just a second. Here we have a short USB-C to USB-C cable and a bag of accessories. And inside we get a thermal pad, a couple of screws and rubber fasteners, a screwdriver, and finally the instruction manual. And here is the docking unit itself, and that's basically everything that came included in the box. Now let's start with the dimensions and build quality of this M4 Mac Mini dock with the same dimensions of the Mac Mini sitting at 127mm square with a thickness of 15mm. Here is a quick 360 spin on the product. The material used on the dock is quite similar to the finish on the Mac Mini as well as the Mac Studio with a slick aluminum finish all around. Starting from the top, we have Pulwtop's logo with rubber feet to hold the Mac Mini right here. Now situated at the front, we have two USB Type-A port, the logos of the keyboard and mouse, and over to the right is the SD and micro SD card slot. Towards the back is the last USB Type-A port, an audio and mic jack, a HDMI port, and the USB-C host port to be connected to your Mac Mini. And the key feature of this dock that solves a problem that Apple has created. There's a smooth carved curvature right here for the quick access to the power button that is now below the M4 Mac Mini. Now, as mentioned earlier in the video, I don't have a Mac Mini to be included in this video, but I'll be sure to pull up some images showing how it would look with the Mac Mini situated on top. Now, when the Mac Mini is placed on top, there is a small gap that looks like about 2 centimeters or less, making it very similar to what I now have with the Quizlab docking station that I'm currently using with my M1 Max Mac Studio. Now, just my 2 cents about the power button on the M4 Mac Mini coming from the M1 Mac Mini as well as the M1 Max Mac Studio. And to be honest, I rarely reach over to the back of the machine to hit the power button, which is where the original button is located, as I always put my Mac to sleep and there is rarely any need to use the power button unless the computer freezes or requires a hard reset, but that rarely happens. Now, taking a look below the unit, we have a couple of rubber feet to keep the dock from sliding around and the NVMe M.2 SSD enclosure that requires a screwdriver to unlock sits right under. Now, this SSD enclosure only supports up to 10 gigabits of transfer speed and a maximum of 4 terabytes capacity, and that's basically all the features this USB-C dock has to offer. Next, we will test out the 10 gigabits per second NVMe M.2 SSD transfer speeds. Here I am using my trusty Alexa NM790 SSD drive that I usually paired with my Case 40 gigabits per second SSD enclosure. With Blackmagic speed tests, we are getting at about 900 to 970 megabytes per second write speeds with a read speeds of about 850 megabytes per second. And in comparison to the 40 gigabits per second enclosure, it is massively different. Now, I have mentioned before, a comfortable, smooth video editing session with external drive requires at least a 40 gigabits per second connection to avoid any sort of lag in playback while you load up video files. So 10 gigabits per second will be barely enough, and Pulwtop's USB-C dock delivers as advertised. Now with the SSD running, I actually tested the temperatures on the docking station itself, and it is actually quite warm by default because there are no fans inside the dock, so overall it wasn't too hot to hold, but it was actually quite warm, so just beware of that. Now we'll move on to the question asked in the beginning, why did Pulwtop decided to go with USB 2.0 instead of USB 3.2 that offers much faster speeds. According to Pulwtop, in order to keep the classic under their Mac Mini docking station look, they had to sacrifice USB 3.2 transfer speeds, as from their testing they have encountered interference with the 2.4 GHz wavelength used for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection. It has something to do with the Wi-Fi antenna inside the M4 Mac Mini, which is at the bottom side, so both the module and the dock is sandwiched in between, and in terms have serious interference concerns and also lagging responses per peripherals connected to it. And through various testings and shieldings of both ports and devices, it was concluded that they can only offer up to USB 2.0 ports without risking connection issues. Now for the sake of comparisons to other docks that offers USB 3.2 ports, you will notice that some of these docks doesn't offer the classic Mac Mini on top and the dock at the bottom look. For instance, Orico's mini dock for the Mac Mini M4 offers USB 3.2 10GB transfer speeds on the USB Type-A port, but the M4 Mac Mini is standing vertically, which means the Wi-Fi antenna and Bluetooth is actually free from interference. Here is another docking station from Giwokli, their Mac Mini M4 dock that also supports 10 gigabits per second USB 3.2 Type-A ports, but we can notice the further distance from the dock to the Mac Mini right here. Editor Ken here, and I recently came across this YouTube short from Mr. H Tech that talks about this specific dock as he was facing Wi-Fi interference issue. As soon as he removes the M4 Mac Mini from the dock, the Wi-Fi signal recovers, and yes, they are using USB 3.0. Another one is from RayQ, their 10-in-1 Mac Mini docking station also supports 10 gigabits per second USB 3.2 Type-A ports, but with a slight design change with added heatsink design at the top section, creating more distance between the dock and the Mac Mini. However, I did come across Hitachi's Mac Mini M4 stand and hub that claims that they were able to include USB 3.2 Type-A ports while maintaining the classic look. Based on those reviews, it seems that people are still concerned about Wi-Fi dropout speeds due to the USB 3.2 interface. Now on a side note, Pulwtop actually have a 8-in-1 M4 Mac Mini vertical docking station that actually supports USB 3.2 10 gigabits USB Type-A port alongside with USB-C ports with its product code BS212C. In case if you are interested, all links will be in the description box down below for your ease of reference. Now my use cases on my M1 Max Mac Studio as of 2025, I still utilize about 5 to 6 USB Type-A ports, some of which are for KVM switches and audio interfaces that still works well with slower Type-A ports, so I think it is fine with me. If you ever needed more fast USB Type-A ports, you could pick up a USB-C to Type-A hub. It does come with an extra cost as well as taking up more space on the table, so do keep that in mind. That being said, this M4 Mac Mini dock from Pulwtop is currently priced at $99 US. If you are interested, do consider checking it out on Pulwtop's website, which I will link in the description box down below. Once again, a huge shout out to Pulwtop for sending over this unit for a review. And that is all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you have found this video insightful. If you have any questions or things that you wanted me to test out, feel free to leave me a comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you guys as soon as possible. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. My name is Ken, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay safe, peace out, and bye bye.